Shalom, giving all praises, honor, and glory to our power Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shah, Bahasham Rachak Kodash, to our honors, to the apostles, the bishops, and the elders, great millstone. Peace and blessings to the hopeful elect of the tabernacles of David, scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, wherever you may be, to you I say Shalom, Yahshua, Shalom. All right, we're going to get into another various article session here, which is not going to be too long. There's a couple things that I wanted to briefly hit. The first two I'm gonna go into first because I don't really have any, like much on them, especially the second thing. Um, so I won't forget it. I'm gonna go into these first, and this one will be super quick. So as you see it on the screen, the next significant celestial event is a partial solar eclipse on September 21st, 2025, visible in South Pacific and Antarctica, followed by the full corn moon on the same day, which full corn moon, whatever. But yeah, the partial solar eclipse. As a matter of fact, let's see if we can dwindle it down just to get a little bit more out of this. We'll take this. We'll do that. What's going on? Okay, I should have just typed it in. So I'll do this. I'll take that and I'll copy it and get rid of this and paste that and put when is. Oh wait, the next. Probably bring the same thing up. I probably should have worded it different without putting too much. So I can put it back right. Well, Willie, you can hear. They're pretty much put up the same thing. This will occur on September 21st, 2025. We can't do this though. Matter of fact, just hang tight for a second. Alright, sorry about that. Nothing I can do about it. We got a little decent spot right here. So, what did we type up? Okay, yep. Actually, I'll tell you when. I wanted to type in what, just to take a little step further, since we are on this brief topic here. What is, a partial solar eclipse occurs when the moon passes between the sun and earth, but the three celestial bodies are not perfectly aligned. Let's see here. Total moon completely blocks sun. Okay, annular moon covers sun, but not 100%. I was about to say that's what they call the ring of fire, but it's written right there. Yep, see, ring of fire. And then I believe this third one is the one it's talking about here. Partial, not in the path of totality. And this would be totality, or I guess whatever, how they call it. Let me zoom this back out. There's another. And that's where some of these nations get their see beautiful the water Habashim Shah. Because I didn't expect to get no verses, but we can actually grab that. But you see that that crescent moon and the star that the so-called Islamic people they'll do, which when you go back to all these ancient cultures, they always had some kind of sun worship or something like that, and all that is going off, right? That's stuff that heathens do. Okay. Let me read this real quick, since Spirit just hit me with a couple of scriptures there. A partial solar eclipse occurs when the moon passes between the sun and earth, but the three celestial bodies are not perfectly aligned. From the earth's surface, the moon only covers a portion of the sun's disk, giving the appearance of a bite taken out of the sun. I guess that's what they call it, huh? Oh yeah, this type of eclipse happens when an observer is within the penumbra, the outer lighter part of the moon's shadow. Penumbra, the region where the moon only partially blocks the sun's light, resulting in a partially shadowed area where the observer experiences the eclipse. You are in the penumbra if the moon blocks some, but not all, of the sun's light from your perspective on Earth. And that's it right there. Penumbra. Okay, so you see it, a little diagram or picture or whatever you want to call it. So let me get this real quick since I thought about it. The Spirit brought it to mind. So let me grab. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna grab that Jeremiah while we're here. And we get Jeremiah 10, verse 2. Thus said the Lord Yahweh, learn not the way of the heathen. Okay, as we just talked about, the heathen will worship all these kinds of things: stars, crescent moon, moon itself, star, sun itself, or, and so on and so forth. But learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them. I should have pulled up the blue, but let's grab that word dismayed, and it says, cause someone to feel consternation and distress. They're gonna give it to us. Okay, there we go. Feelings of anxiety or dismay typically as something unexpected. And this goes to show you, though this word means that when you look into modern, in real time, okay, the people see these events like something, that fascinates them. Something, oh, I'm happy, I want to see it, and so on and so forth. Okay, not them saying that we can't see it and like, wow, that's crazy. It looks nice, or whatever the case may be. But the overall point that I'm making is that we understand, okay, that these are signs from the heavens and not just signs. I guess you could say in the heavens, or we'll say signs from the Lord, okay, and not just something happening up in the skies, okay, and the the people today just see it as something, nice and fancy that I can look at and so on and so forth. But the scriptures tell us to be not dismayed, okay, at the signs of heaven. Matter of fact, let me go back to that word again, dismayed, one more time, because it says cause someone to feel consternation and distress, right? Uh, then it says feelings of anxiety or dismay, typically as something unexpected. See, so he's telling us to not pretty much, to say the least, don't feel taken away by these things. Feel worried or whatever the case may be. All right, don't be afraid of these things. Be not confused about these things that are happening in the sky. For the heathens are dismayed at them. For the customs of the people are vain. Okay, and that's all we really want from right there. Mainly that verse 2. Okay, dealing with the signs of the heaven, but also because we mentioned that if we go to Deuteronomy 4, and we'll start here at 15, I guess. Take ye therefore good heed unto yourselves, for ye saw no manner of similitude on the day that the Lord Yahweh spake unto you in Horeb out of the midst of the fire, lest ye corrupt yourselves and make you a graven image, the similitude of any figure, the likeness of male or female, the likeness of any beast that is on the earth, the likeness of any winged fowl that flieth in the air, the likeness of anything that creepeth on the ground, the likeness of any fish that is in the waters beneath the earth, unless thou lift up thine eyes unto heaven. Here's the key thing, okay? And when thou seest the sun and the moon and the stars, even all the hosts of heaven, okay? So, whatever up there, you can think of, which I guess I ain't much to think of, think about the Heavenly Father, which he told you directly, don't do that because you don't know exactly what I look like. How was shy? I mean, we have an idea what he looks like, but we can't say that, yeah, he looks exactly like this. Like if we show a person, okay, image of Jesus the Christ, right? And then we show him, this dark skinned, person here that you might have drew up or got from a picture that was digitally, put together or whatever the case may be. We can say that, okay, this is what he would look like, but I'm not saying this is his exact appearance. Like if he was on Earth today, he would be the same person on his picture or whatever, on his poster board or whatever. No, just an idea of his general appearance or appearance according to the Bible. And then of course the angels, which Esau blasphemed the angels. Okay, he made them into little what? Little Cupid babies. Okay. But it says, and lest thou lift up thine eyes unto heaven, and when thou seest the sun and the moon and the stars, even all the hosts of heaven, shouldest be driven to worship them and serve them, which the Lord Yahweh thy power hath divided unto all nations under the whole heaven. You see, that's what we just mentioned. They worship the sun, the moon, the stars, the crescent moon with the star, okay, a star and a hammer, and all these different things that you'll see on these countries. Well, not all the countries, but different countries in there. We'll say flag logo. Can't think of the word I was looking for just that moment. But you get the point. But the Lord Yahweh had taken you and brought you forth out of the iron furnace, even out of Egypt, to be unto him a people of inheritance as ye are this day. There you go. So just wanted to read that real quick since we did mention that. So we can go back over here because I think we got everything that we wanted from there. Dismayed. Oh, yeah, because it took us all the way back. So yeah, so we pretty much, that's it. We don't have to pull that back up again. So let's move on to the next thing here. And this is over what, last month here, and because I definitely don't have anything on this in particular except for the event itself. Okay. And pretty much, this guy here he is again. Okay, the big ear Benji, as I like to call him. So and this here, well, let me see here. Well, yeah, because I had to write it because, like I said, I don't have it, so I just wanted to write this brief excerpt, okay, that was written here. And so this was from August 2025, and I'm going to read it real quick because it says, but before launching an attack on Iran, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu places a note in the Western Wall in Jerusalem's old city. Okay. And I'm not sure. Wait, you know what? Let me see if I can. Let's see what comes up. No, in Western Wall. Let's see if we can get pinpoint with it before attacking Iran. There you go. I'd be surprised if we get a picture of him doing that. Okay, we may actually get something here. I want to go to YouTube. And see, now it's saying the date is older, back to June. Okay. But when I first saw it, it said back to August. Nonetheless, it doesn't really matter. We know the attack was recent, okay, on Iran originally, okay, between these last several months here. And that's what I wanted to get to right there. Because that next thing it says the note quoted Numbers 23 and 24. So yeah, we got what we needed right here. On June 12th, 2025. So first it said August, now it says June. Okay, or at least one place said August. Now this on Google is saying June. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu placed a note in the Western Wall containing a Bible verse referencing a lion rising up. Hours before Israel launched its Operation Rising Lion, which we probably heard about, Operation Rising Lion against Iranian nuclear sites. The strike occurred on June 13, 2025, triggering a brief war between the two nations. Okay. Now, here's what I want to get to. The note's content. Netanyahu's note quoted a verse from the book of Numbers 23 and 24, which reads, "Behold, the people shall rise up as a great lion and lift up himself as a young lion." Okay. Now, when I originally saw this, this is what kind of made me want to go to it and actually pull up the scripture, because what it claimed is that, which, we don't know. At least in the magazine, that's what it had. It had that first part there, where, let me see here. Let me try to light it up. Yeah, right here. Wait, actually, yeah, from here. Right, yep, from here to, yeah, right here. Okay. And that's what he supposedly stuck into this Western Wall. Yeah, Herod's wall, right? They're not the people because they wouldn't be loving Herod's wall so much. But guess what? Herod was one of them. Okay, Antipater the Idumean was the original men that that trickles down from those line of those known as the Herodians. Okay, so because there's different Herods, it's like more so like a title or whatever. And so just the overall things, Antipater the Idumean, and then trickling down to Herod this and that, and Philip and Herod Tetrarch, and so on and so forth, different Herods. But when I originally saw this, it said, the note said, "Behold, the people shall rise up as a great lion and lift up himself as a young lion," and it stopped right there. Okay, and I was gonna put a verse up, but it's right here because if the first one was true, then I find it ironic that they would leave the second part out because it says what? He shall not lie down until he eat of the prey, and drink the blood of the slain, which we know what they're doing over there. All right, it's pretty much Gino, which we don't have a dog in that fight, versus any of those people over there fighting over our lands. But I found it very ironic how supposedly, okay, that note didn't have the rest of it, or maybe it did, and just where I originally saw this, they only posted that portion there. But it was like they would, because I saw it like in I can't remember the name of it. That's why I had to go back and jot it down. But it was in a magazine, okay, and probably the magazine was probably just trying to save face, because maybe he put the whole scripture on the note and stuck it in the Western Wall, or maybe he only actually wrote the first part. I don't know, because it could just be that the magazine company was trying to save face and not get flagged or anything, so they just posted he wrote this first part of the note, but then they don't say anything about the second part, which is what made me actually go to the scripture, and then I saw that there was more to it than just that first part there. But here's that second half: He shall not lie down until he eat of the prey and drink the blood of the slain. And it's ironic they put that in there because or he put that in there before he attacked Iran, because that's what they've been doing since day one, since that as they like to hold on to October 7th. Okay, October 7th, October 7th, October 7th. They're gonna say over and over and over and over and over and over and over, and they keep hanging on it. Okay, but that's their that was their spark, all right, to get things moving. Okay, and so and that's why they keep mentioning it from time to time. And so that was their spark to keep to the point that they're at now. And then eventually they talked about they all of a sudden they come out with the talking about the promised land, bringing out that map, right? Because they that shows you that they know the Bible, things that are in the Bible, but they just don't follow it because the Bible doesn't comfort them, because the Bible condemns them. Okay, so then they bring out the map next. So these are the lands that belong to the Israelites. We should be here, and and so they're just gonna war with everybody around them till they get all the land, right? And then they had after that it come with the Greater Israel Project, which is pretty much backing them up on the map. Okay, so basically pulling out the Bible and utilizing the scriptures when they want to justify their wicked deeds in the earth. Okay, so and that's just what they do. Um, what else does it say here? The phrase "rising lion" was later used as the name for the military operation. Yeah. uh, and I probably don't need to read any more of that because they already went into that when it happened. So yeah, that was the thing that caught my eye when I saw that. But I can't say whether or not the whole scripture was posted, but I thought it was very interesting how there was more to the scripture, but that's all that was said there. But that's all he wrote in the note, which knowing them, they probably he probably wrote the whole thing there. And they think that they're gonna keep our lands forever. Okay, let's get that one. The inward thought. I was gonna get another scripture, but let's get this one. There you go. Yep, Psalms 49:11. Their inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever, and their dwelling places to all generations. They call their lands after their own names. Now, it's more so centered around the so-called elite, all right, the banking families. But at the same time, you have these Amalekites over there saying that this certain territory here belongs to us when they're not the real people, and they're trying to feign themselves, which they've been doing that for the longest, but they want to actually make it appear as if they truly are. They don't want to keep faking that they are the Israelites. Okay, they want to make the world truly believe that they are the Israelites in their new world that they're trying to so-called build through the left hand, right? Through witchcraft, sorcery, magic, through technology and stuff like that. Okay, basically while having power over everybody. Okay, so in that world, in their minds, right, in their inward thought, in that world, they are going to be the Israelites, and they are going to be those who have the promised land and rule the earth and rule over the other nations. And those things are vain thoughts, because that's just not what the scriptures say. It's not what the scriptures say. Okay. What else is around here? So yeah, we just pretty much get that verse there. The inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever, and their dwelling places to all generations. They call their lands after their own names. All right. So I'll keep that. Get these extra pages out the way. So I wanted to go over here now. This is the last thing we'll jump into. And this here is, yeah, dealing with ICE. Okay, dealing with ICE. And let's just play these first. I should have the volume cranked up. Make sure we're ticking. Yeah, let's just play these first, and then we roll into the next thing.
Perhaps the most controversial agency, at least right now in the country, is launching a nationwide recruitment campaign.
Immigration and Customs Enforcement, also known as ICE, says that it is looking for more recruits as the federal government tries to ramp up its efforts to crack down on illegal immigration.
Yeah, so let's get to 12 News journalist Troy Lynch, who is live this morning at the Phoenix ICE field office with what incentives this campaign is offering to get people to apply. Troy.
Yeah, it was just a couple of weeks ago. I was here at this exact spot right in front of the Phoenix ICE field office for the Good Trouble Lives On protest, where there were probably about 100 people that were here protesting Trump's policies when it comes to immigration, but there were thousands across the country that were protesting this same thing. However, this is not stopping ICE's recruiting campaign. They want to bring more people in because they are, quote unquote, looking for brave and heroic Americans.
Now, mind you, these clips are, I mean, they're not like old like it happened last year. They're old, as in it just didn't happen yesterday or just popped up new today. But there's a reason why I'm bringing it out. Okay, and this portion here is talking about because we actually put that in some news clips whenever it was about ICE recruiting. Okay.
Work for them. I want to show you the front page of ICE's recruiting website. Here it is. And you
because I remember going into this, all right, and aiming some of it, well, not some of it, well, I mean, in a sense, but we'll say, because as we spoke about it, I think they said like as young as 18 years old, and they mentioned something about he might even say it, I'm not sure, but about student, yeah, I see it right here. It's kind of blurred out. $60,000. So yeah, so let's play the video because he's probably going to say it anyways.
can see Uncle Sam, and right underneath him is the message, America needs you. Now the website goes on to say America has been invaded by criminals. And
okay, so yeah, let me stop it right there. So he didn't say it, but yeah. So what I was going to say is how he was offering up the money, a lump sum of money up front to join, but you have to do it for like, I can't remember if it was like 3 or 6 months or something like that. And then also the extra incentive, which really speaks towards, you know, those that are in college who are struggling, because they talked about student loans, a certain amount of money, you know, up to a certain amount of money so you can repay student loans. But they also, not only does that cover them, but it goes up into general, because there's other people who are, you know, adults from trying to follow a certain career who still are paying on student loans. Okay. So that was still called to, it's like, it's not really, there's no generation gap when it comes to that student loan repayment. It was an incentive that was kind of really, you know, strategically placed out there, because, you know, with America, you know, people, you know, struggling and complaining about the economy and stuff like that, it gives them an incentive to say that, hey, okay, I'll go and join ICE. I can pay off. I got I don't know, I got $45,000 left in my student debt, and they offered me $50,000. Yeah, I can pay that off. Then they offer me this lump sum. Then I'm getting paid to go and take these illegals out the country. See? And so it roused people up, especially the Edomites.
predators.
And as he just said, let me go.
The website goes on to say America has been invaded by criminals.
Yeah, see, America has been invaded by criminals. And that's what I've been speaking about lately, how now their attention is slowly being turned towards the Southern Kingdom. They're really hanging on gang violence and destruction of cities as if Esau doesn't do any crimes. Okay, and it was easier for them to do that to the Northern Kingdom because the Northern Kingdom was already taken over here, or not taken, but they already came over here, some legally, some illegally, and a major portion of that was all the the Darien Gap, Texas, and New York, California, all these places that they were pouring in from. All right, all sides, okay, of Babylon just coming in. Okay. And so, like I said, some are here legally, some are here illegally, and we know that both, well, not both really, probably more so amongst those that are illegal, but possibly legal too. So, because I don't really know, you had criminals that came over here, actual criminals that came over here, and we understand that not everybody's good, but guess what? That's in every nation. There's decent people in every nation, just like there's bad people in every nation. Okay. And so, but they're taking that and using that to their advantage and saying that, see, criminal, they came over here illegally, criminal, they don't belong here, criminal. All right. They speak a dialect. They have a certain slur when they speak, criminal. We need to see your papers. All right. Is that not what they did in the slave days? Okay. You have papers. You have to show, like the master sent you, like in the movies, they were showing this in the movies. Master sent you to another plantation to pick up some milk or something or whatever. And I'm just randomly saying, whatever, just to make the point. He sends you to pick up some milk. You get caught in the way, you get put to death. But if you have those papers from your master, all right, saying that, okay, I'm on a job from Master Johnny here, and they'll let you go. Okay. But if you were just found out there just roaming, okay, you might get put to death because they might think you that you're some just runaway slave or some rebellious Negro or whatever the case may be. Okay. And so now they're doing the same thing with, and not everybody also shows you a slave identification, but not everybody has identification. So you get stopped. Maybe you don't have identification, or maybe you do have identification, but they still take you away, and they're doing these things. Okay. And so to make the point, they're utilizing the angle of criminals, okay, and it made it easy for them to go after the Southern Kingdom Israelites, on top of the fact that he said that there were migrants, immigrants, or illegals, or whatever term he wanted to use. Okay, so he took the same criminal thing and he's going to place on the Southern Kingdom, but he wants to rise up. He wants the Southern Kingdom to really rise up and fight back. But let's play some more.
Predators, and we need you to get them out. Now, ICE is looking for deportation officers, immigration investigators, and lawyers, and to make those jobs more enticing.
Look, and lawyers. So think about that. Okay, you got some. Let's just use that because that's the perfect example. Going back to the womb, right? So you got a so-called racist Edomite joining up with ICE as a recruit and having somewhat of a skill in legal matters, or being a lawyer or whatever. Do you really think that Israelite is going to get a just and fair trial? That's if they even have a trial at all. Okay, because a lot of people are just whatever is happening to them is happening to them. But and it's no different in the court system today, man, where you have an angry racist Edomite, okay, who wants to slap a charge on you. Okay, so even if you have everything pointing towards you in your case in your favor, they may still try to find a way. They can't lock you up to fine you or something like that. Because the court system wasn't made for us Israelites, man. It was made against us Israelites, okay? But, of course, because other people live here, they get also caught up in the system because, it is what it is, right? But it definitely wasn't made for the Israelites. Let me see. Let's play some more of this here.
They're adding up to $50,000 signing bonus, $60,000 in student loan repayment or forgiveness, 25% premium pay, opportunities for overtime for deportation officers that are.
See, and that's what we went into when it first came up, okay? And so I didn't think he was going to say it, but he did go over that, okay? And yeah, I forgot about the thing where they mentioned overtime, okay? So you have someone who hates the other nations, all right? We can all pinpoint who's the most major one in that one, okay? Who hates these Israelites, who wants to join up with ICE, and then they'll basically fulfill a part of their dream, because the Edomites are a bloody people, all right? It says, I believe that's in Ezekiel, 35 or 36. Excuse me, since Sith Sith, S-I-T-H, Sith, thou has not hated blood. Let me just pull it real quick. It's in 35 or 36. Because you have Edomites that feel this way, man. But they're 35 right here. Ezekiel 35:6. Therefore, as I live, said the Lord, Yahweh, I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee. Sit, thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee. So that's ultimately what's going to happen to them. But the point I want to make from there is you have these bloodthirsty Edomites who hate you because that goes back to the womb. Genesis 25th, carrying over to the 27th chapter. Okay, two manner of people, two nations shall be in the womb. All right, even in Genesis it says the same thing. You have enmity between your seed and the serpent seed, or serpent seed in your seed, something like that. Okay, so you have a bloodthirsty Edomite, all right, who hates you as an Israelite. Now he may not know you're an Israelite, but I'm just making the point. Hates you as an Israelite. He'd love to sign up, okay, and get his hands on you, just to rough you up, or to grab you up, or to put you in cuffs, or detain you, all right, put you on the ground, put his knee on your neck, okay, showcase some UFC moves he been working on, or even if he can draw blood from you, he like to do that as well. So he'd love to sign up and help out in the situation. Okay, now I'm working up to a point here, but I gotta play some more.
With enforcement removal operations and enhanced retirement benefits. Now, these jobs aren't available at every ICE field office in the...
Yeah, that's how they get them. Well, all these incentives, and then add on at the end. I think what did he say? Enhanced. Shoot, what did you say? Retirement. He said something about enhanced retirement funds or something like that. And the average Edomite doesn't understand. He's being duped, man. He's being duped to help out the system because we're living in a time where there's about to be mass chaos, okay, in the four corners of the earth. But we'll just consolidate and just talk about Babylon the Great. And so, but they get you with these incentives. Talk about student loans. That doesn't matter, okay, because they're trying to reset the system. The debt clock. All that doesn't matter because they're trying to reset the system to be a digital one. Retirement, it's not gonna matter because when the new system comes, it don't matter how much retirement funds you got. If you don't go digital, you ain't getting no ways. But this is what they're doing to their own people. They're blinding them to push for their fight, okay, and put one side against another, this people against another, this political view against another, and so on and so forth. We're gonna get that.
Country, but the Phoenix location is looking for those big three, and no undergraduate degree is required. Now, as a part of the recruiting, maybe you've seen the photos of President Donald Trump, Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem, and others with big words that say defend the homeland on them. However, it does say on their website that working
defend the homeland, yeah, they came from across the waters where people were already here. Okay, who was over here? Oh, from Canada on down to the South America, that is. Okay, defend the homeland, yet this was never your home or your land. But to fulfill prophecy, okay, you were able to rise up with a sword and take rulership over this land. And so now you call it the homeland. Now this oh man, forget about the song they used to have you sing. If those of us that are age, you probably had to sing it in school. Damn, how does it go? This land is your land and my land. Something. This land belongs to you and me. I know some of y'all probably remember that song. But wait a minute, wait a minute here. Because it also reminds me of, because we went into that before. I always forget what it's called, but where they talk about the Pledge of Allegiance, okay? With liberty and justice for all these different things. Well, where is all the liberty and freedom and equality and all these things that you put forth in words about this nation, this great nation, right? Okay, so the words that they speak are not put into effect. Like the scripture speak about, he had two horns like a lamb, he spake as a dragon. Yeah, this land is your land and my land, and it belongs to you and me. But when it boils down to it, you're under me, you're under my laws. I can do what I want, I get away with it. And if I do get caught for a crime, I get mentally penalized for it, but you might get the maximum. So there's not justice, there's not equality, there's not freedom, and so on and so forth. And we're not going to get that until Yahushua comes. But let's stay back on point.
ICE
does come with some risk. Now, we saw that with protesters trying to stop ICE arrests being made outside of Phoenix Federal Courthouse in May, and then, of course, other immigration protests that have happened since President Trump took office. Now, according to DHS, this campaign was made possible by significant funding by the Big Beautiful Bill, as $170 billion will be going to border security and immigration enforcement over the next 5 years. Now, out of that money, ICE is set to get $76.5 billion, with $30 billion going toward. $70 billion will be going to border security and immigration enforcement over the next 5 years. Now, out of that money, ICE is set to get $76.5 billion, with $30 billion going towards hiring 10,000 more staff so they can try to meet their 1 million.
How much going?
10,000 more staff so they can try to meet. With $30 billion going towards hiring 10,000
to hire. $30 billion to hire 10,000 more staff. All right, to go and jack up Israelites. Crazy,
more
right?
staff so they can try to meet their 1 million annual deportation goal. But we're here in Phoenix. Troy Lynch, 12 News, today in AZ.
Troy, thank you.
U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement is ramping up training for new agents as the agency's director says he wants to train 10,000 new agents by the end of the year.
Okay.
CBS News Homeland Security correspondent Nicole Skanga visited the ICE training facility and has more on it.
Acting ICE Director Todd Lyons told CBS News he believes the agency can hire 10,000 immigration agents by the end of the year, nearly doubling the number of ICE, ERO, enforcement and removal operations agents in just 5 months. How is he?
Now, and mind you, these are just, supposedly regular people, okay? But what if you have, like I mentioned, what if you got some highly, racist Edomite who probably, like, let's say this, some racist Edomite who done had some former training or something like that. He was sitting around doing nothing. He was like, oh, snap. This is my chance to get hands on them. Okay? Them illegals, right? And so he jumps up and he wants to go and holler at ICE.
Going to do that? Well, we're here at the FLETC Federal Law Enforcement Training Center in South Georgia, and ICE officials here say they're trying to more than double the number of ICE Academy instructors from 30 to 70. There's also a lot of money behind it. That Big Beautiful Bill gave $76.5 billion to ICE, of which $30 billion is dedicated to hiring alone. Now, I asked the ICE director whether or not the quality of the candidate would lower because of this huge push. He said no, but they have waived the age limit, so there's no longer an age cap for new recruits here at ICE. In addition to that, he said that there have been 120,000 applicants so far. Just to put that into context.
Hold on. $30 billion to hire 10,000 recruits, and he had 120,000 applicants. Does that not say enough? Does that not say enough of what they feel about you Israelites, man? Does that not? 10,000 he wanted to hire, and he got 120,000 applicants, man. Crazy.
So back in 2017, the Department of Homeland Security's Inspector General looked into a similar hiring push and found that in order to hire 10,000 new agents, ICE would have to talk to 500,000 people. So they're not quite there yet.
See, they're trying to... what is that? Men in Black, okay, the first movie. They're trying to get the best of the best of the best, sir. Okay, that's what they're looking for. They're looking for those badasses, right? Those that are really help out these ICE agents, okay, on the level that they want. You see?
Senior ICE officials also confirmed to CBS News that they are looking into the possibility of buying, owning, and operating their own ICE deportation planes, which would expedite removals but be very expensive when you consider that an average commercial airliner can cost anywhere from $80 to $400 million. Now, we sat in on a lot of trainings today. We went
$80 to $400 million, but you just said you got $30 billion with a higher 10. Come on, man. But, you see where this is going.
The gun range, the driving range. You might notice that ICE officials here asked us not to show the faces of ICE trainees and instructors. They
And that's what I want to get to next. Not particularly those people, but still in the general area.
That's out of an abundance of caution because there has been an increase in the number of threats to federal law enforcement officers to the tune of 1,000%.
Yeah, see, and that's what they did in the back in the days. All right, we'll use Django. All right, I can't see, you can't see. All that matters, the horse can see, and that's a ray. Okay, you know, they went with the hoods on, and these were the guys that were, you know, the sheriff, all right, the bailiff, the judge, okay, Farmer Joey next door, well, maybe not next door, because they hated you. But you get it, you know, the regular person that you would see every day. So they had to what, cover up their faces. And that's the same thing ICE is doing now, all right, because of threats. Okay, they're covering up their faces. And then on top of the fact that they're talking about hiring new recruits. Okay, so these are going to be regular people every day. All right, it might have been somebody that worked at your office, okay, who's going to have a mask on to come and pick up, you know, a Northern Kingdom Israelite, all right, and so that they can deport them. See? And so this should be the last clip.
I'll send it back to you.
All right, Nicole Skenga, thank you so much.
I love the smell of napalm in the morning. Chicago is a very dangerous place. We could solve Chicago very quickly.
The Trump administration is launching what he calls Operation Midway Blitz, and hundreds of Homeland Security officials will help carry out this operation.
Donald Trump thinks he has a hammer in his hand, and he thinks he can bring that hammer to Chicago. But he's about to find out that Chicago is an anvil. Mr. Trump, you have met your match.
Okay, so maybe that wasn't, maybe I picked up the wrong clip. But dude said, Donald Trump is a hammer, you about to find out that Chicago is an anvil. So yeah, it was the wrong clip, but there was another one. So I probably picked up the wrong clip anyways. But anyways, as a matter of fact, let me see if I can, see if I can type it in here. Maybe we can find it there. Let's see how I'm gonna word this. Let me see here. Because this is the reality, all right, of what's going on in America. Not no, you know, just a regular day is every day. No, this is the reality that was happening right now. Okay, but the average person is just not paying attention to it. Oh yeah, let's word it like this. ICE to be yeah. Let's do that. Let's see what comes up with this. Will it take us to a YouTube or something? No YouTube videos. But that was the last thing. I wanted to transition through all of this. What the hell? Okay. Legislative efforts to unmask ICE agents. In 2025, various lawmakers have introduced bills at both the federal and state levels to require ICE agents to be clearly identifiable and show their faces during enforcement actions. Now, I'm not saying that this took place yet, not even saying that they will lay this into effect. But what I'm saying is from the angle of imagine if they did. Okay, so now you have an everyday person here, an everyday person here who now you know who they are. Okay. And let me see, I'm gonna have to punch it up. Okay, now you know who they are, and so you got people that want to fight back. Okay, because you always have two sides: people that are with the plan and people that are against the plan. And what the so-called elites do is they stand back and put both people against another. All right, which includes their own people because they don't care. So, oh wait, I'm gonna go to. Am I in 15? No. Let's see if I can find that verse. I believe it's up higher. Yeah. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein. For the sword of their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. So imagine if ICE actually had to be unmasked. And you have these new recruits coming in who are probably your neighbor 3 doors down or live in the same apartment building. And they can't do this maxed up anymore. All right. They have to show their faces when they arrest people. And then you got people rising up to fight. Okay, you have incidents that are happening between citizens and ICE, and so imagine these things are wrapping up to a higher level, a higher volume. Okay, and imagine ICE actually have to do their job without a mask on their face. And that's some crazy work, okay? For there shall be sedition among men, because that's coming anyways. But I'm just, adding in, like, imagine if they couldn't hide their faces while they did this, okay? And invading one another, they shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power, okay? And that's where you have all these differences, racial tensions, okay? They're trying to get Jake because they talk different or sound different, look different. If you just look the part, okay, you can get pulled over and end up on an ICE deportation flight or in alligator Alcatraz somewhere, okay? Separated from your family, which does go back to the curses, because many families were separated back then, okay? Like in the slave trades and stuff like that. Some of them were separated even before they left on the boat. They were already separated, okay? And some it was when they got over here off the boat, all right? Sold here, sold there, on this auction block, that auction block, so on and so forth. So, we see the same things playing themselves out. But because we're in the time period of Jacob's trouble, these things are going to be on a higher level, man. A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able, for because of their pride, the city shall be troubled and the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. Okay, so it's interesting to see. If I had to guess, me myself personally, I don't think they would have ICE uncover themselves. But just coming from the angle of imagine that. Okay, imagine ICE having to continue to do their job, okay, with their faces uncovered. I mean, because the troops don't cover their face. So why does ICE have their face covered? The troops are in it, like, hey, we the troops, okay? They just post, hey, we the troops. We with it. But ICE is out here, and they have their faces covered. You know why? Because it was probably the guy that walked past you last week at the grocery store, okay, and 3 days later, okay, he went and got you. You see? And that's the crazy part about it, because it could be somebody that knew of you, okay, and they saw you like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get that one, and you don't know it's this guy, but he was plotting on you, plotting on your daughter, your son, okay, whatever, plotting on your wife, your family in general. It's like, yeah, I saw them the other day at that grocery store, okay, you illegal, you criminal, okay, and he went, and when it was time for him to clock in, he put on his ICE uniform, he put on his mask, and he finally caught up to you. See? And even when you're dealing with regular police, they have a law against that, man. Police can't keep locking the same cop, that is. The same cop can't keep locking you up over and over and over, because that's some form of harassment. Because it's like, well, is this guy stalking me? Okay, he got me once. Okay, he got me again. Now he give me a third and a fourth and a fifth time. Okay, not saying that you should be committing those kind of, but I'm making a point though. Okay, the same cop can't keep, stopping you, arresting you over and over and over, because there's going to be a problem with that. But that's what ICE is doing, okay? Because they're trying to, they so-called making America great again by what? By putting the tribes in subjection, okay? Doing away with them, or whatever the case may be. But we'll probably leave it there. I guess we can read the next verse. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. And yeah, they're filling with the supply of everything. And eventually, it's going to come that time, what? Of the sea hit. Where if you don't have the sea hit, you're not going to have your bread and water. Okay, which really is generalizing food in general. But you're not going to have the food supply. Okay, you're going to have to get it through them. And that's where, Lord willing, we want to have the Spirit upon us to trust the Lord, because, that's the hour of temptation, man. That's the ultimate testing of your faith. Okay, which really goes back to what? Idolatry. Okay, idolatry, which was the first thing. I'm the Lord. You should have no other gods before me. So if you take this man's sea hit, you made him your idol, and you've chosen him over the Lord. Going back to Exodus 20. Okay, so that's pretty much it. I had something else I wanted to get into, but I'm not sure. I had to go sit and kind of meditate on it. But for now, I'm gonna leave it at that. Lord, will you edify? Shalom.